Oh, I was in my bed the other day hugging my Jingliu body pillow when I was brainstorming some character kits I'd like to see in Honkai Star Rail. A few of these are already experimented in modes like Sim Universe, and a few are just some other ideas I had for characters. So let's discuss a few character kits that I have came up with that I would love to see in Honkai Star Rail. Now, disclaimer, I'm not a game designer, so my ideas probably have flaws, but these are just a couple ideas I had for characters and things that I'd like to see in the game. Without further ado, let's get into it. So the first idea people have suggested is making a character that allows DOT to crit. Now, I don't really like this idea because it seems a little bit boring and unoriginal. Just adding something that can make it crit is not the best way to fix DOT. I think for DOT, you would have to have either a better Kafka or some sort of support that is somehow better than Ranmei or Robin. Now, this is a buff in Simulated Universe already, but it's capped. And I think for this, I wouldn't like it to scale on crit itself. And let me explain what I mean by that. If you're doing that, you would have to build attack, speed, crit rate, crit damage, and effect hit rate. That is going to be very annoying to balance. And especially there's so many people who already have DOT characters built, they're probably not going to want to remake another one. So what I propose is if they do this, make it so it scales on their effect hit rate, as that's a stat you're already going to be building on a DOT character. I think this would work quite well, and especially on characters who want pretty high effect hit rate, for example Black Swan, this would work very good on her. Another thing I'd like to see is something to do with Spores. Now, Spores is a buff in Simulated Universe, once again, and is mostly associated with the Propagation path, which Propagation is mostly basic attack damage, as well as consuming skill points. So characters like Dill and Ching Chui benefit a lot from this. I think this would be very interesting to see in a character, but they would definitely have to balance it, as they would for most things that come from Simulated Universe, as those numbers are very inflated. But the one that I like better than Spores is Dissociation. Now, Dissociation is an extremely powerful buff. It does percentage of max HP, so it is very, very strong. They would 100% have to nerf it if they put it on a character. But honestly, I could see it happening. We have seen before that they've taken ideas from Simulated Universe and turned them into characters. So I honestly do think Dissociation has a pretty good chance of being on a character. Now, another thing I'd like to see in the game is something that more encourages mono-element teams. Now, we do have cases like this already in the game, but they're kind of few and far between. For example, Silverwolf wanted to be played in Monoquana back in the day. Unfortunately, that team has completely died. Sparkle has a trace where she wants to be played with more quantum characters, so we have this a little bit in the game already. But I would like to see it more on a DPS that would say, okay, if I have 3 physical characters and I'm a physical carry, then I get a massive buff, something like that, and it would heavily encourage you to play those teams without being locked to it. It could also help increase character uses that weren't really being used before. For example, say I'm a physical carry and I get more damage if I have more physical characters on my team. So you could give characters like Hanya a chance to shine, and you'd obviously want to play Robin because it's Robin, but characters like that who aren't really being played as much can now have a team where they can perform quite well. I would love to see that in the game. But my personal favorite idea that I have is a debuffer that gives vulnerability to enhanced states. Now, we've been seeing more and more often now that we have characters that are getting enhanced basic attacks and skills. For example, characters like Rappa have an enhanced basic attack, characters like Jingliu have an enhanced skill, things like that. So I think if we had a debuffer that could give vulnerability to those, that could help them quite a bit. Now, is this me trying to buff Jingliu? Absolutely. But I think it would be cool to see in the game. Now, this next character I'm going to recommend is probably something that's pretty ambitious and will probably never happen, but I think it would be really funny to see. So, it would be a character that can flip the battlefield 90 degrees that allows hunt characters to hit everything. Now, this is just ridiculous. It would make characters like Fei Xiao and Boot Hill just like the best characters in the game, even better than they already are. Now, I don't think they're ever going to do this, but I think it would be interesting if they did on something like a boss mechanic. We talked a little bit about how the bosses are kind of boring sometimes, so I think having a mechanic like that could really spice it up. I don't really see this on a character, to be honest, unless they want to hard power creep everything else and just make hunt units the top of the top. But if they found a way to balance it and at least make it not completely broken, then I think it could be very interesting. And for my final idea, it would be an HSR Furina. Now, I know people have been begging for this for a very long time, and I would agree I would really like a character like this. So, if you don't play Genshin, Furina is probably the best character in the entire game. What she does is she drains HP with her skill, and with her ult, She grants massive buffs based on the amount of HP her team loses or gains. So she is very good, and if we put this in Star Rail, it would help out pretty much every character that wants damage percent. Now, if they wanted to change it that it could buff everybody, then that would be a different story, but I think they'd probably just stick with damage percent. This buff of HP gain and loss would significantly help characters like Blade, Jade, and Jingliu, who have HP draining mechanics to some extent. And it would also help characters like Luocha, who he's still a very good character, but he's not top of the top anymore. But since he heals a lot, this would help the team quite a bit. So it would benefit a lot of the cast. So I would love to see it in the game. And I think one day we're 100% going to get this in Star Rail. And I am very excited for when that day comes. So those are kit ideas that I would love to see in Star Rail. But before this video ends, there's something I want to say. A few days ago, I hit YouTube Partner. And I cannot thank you guys enough. I've only been doing content for about 2 months now. And already being a partner is amazing. We're going to keep grinding. We're going to keep putting more videos out. And I do think I have some bigger videos coming soon. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I appreciate you guys watching my content and enjoying it. Liking, commenting, watching my streams, whatever it is. Whether you found out about me, today, yesterday, week ago. I'm very appreciative for everybody who watches my content. I'm glad I could entertain you guys. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this with friends, join the Express Train Discord server, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.